This one's hard to find. It's pretty rare. They're not printing any more of the graphic novels. You might be able to find some of the individual issues. I've talked about it a little bit before, but I've never done an actual proper review. So I'm going to try to do that somewhat now. People ask me about Watchmen a lot. And I'll be the first to admit, Watchmen is incredibly well written. It's actually even a really good piece of literature on its own before you think of it as a superhero story, comic story, and all of that. Incredibly well drawn by Dave Gibbons. The story itself is not a problem because you've got an alternate universe heroes. It's not actually killing off or deconstructing any of the heroes there, but the influence that story has made it incredibly detrimental to the comic universe and to superhero stories in general. It should never, that and The Dark Knight Returns, which wasn't an amazing story, it was okay, should never have had the influence that it did. Never. And I think on some level, Alan Moore knew that. You can even hear him say something like that in some of his interviews. And shortly after Watchmen, Rob Liefeld had created the characters over in his own, but he had created characters called Youngblood, a very brutal group of young superheroes and whatnot. And he created this character that was like an evil Superman type character by the name of Supreme. Typical Liefeld, overly, muscular in every way and stuff like that. And he wanted Alan Moore to come write the story for him. And Alan Moore said, okay, I'll write a Supreme story. But if I'm going to write a Supreme story, I want to reboot it. And I no longer want to make him brutal and evil. I want to make him iconic. I want to do the opposite of what I did in Watchmen. And I want to tell a true blue, iconic superhero story, really gets to what superheroism is about. And you might, if you never heard of this, you might think, what? You would never believe it. He does an amazing job. The first one in terms of collections is here. It's Supreme, the story of the year. And this is, like I said, it's hard to find. I do have a link in the description below, but it's like from Amazon. You can get it for like $80 right now. So I don't expect anybody to spend that unless you got it to drop. But you can find it. You can probably find it digitally. I know you can find it online digitally and read it there. You can probably find the individual issues somewhere, whatever, piece it together. I'm glad I got it when it wasn't quite that expensive to find. But I want to go over just the intro and kind of where the story sets up to show you this. The story sets up, you've got this reboot. You have the character of Supreme was off on some mission in space. And he comes back to Earth and he realizes that everything's changed. He's looking around and everything, like people and buildings and everything, are sort of half formed. And he's wondering what's going on. And then suddenly these 3 or 4 different versions of him show up. And it's like alternate Earth versions of Superman, right? You've got like our Supreme in this case, like if Supreme was a black woman or a Supreme who wears a mask and whatnot. You even got a Mighty Mouse version here, the Mighty Mouse version of him, which is hilarious. They come to take him, and Squeak the Super Mouse is what his name is. They come and they're there to bring him to the Platinum Paragon, which if you read Superman's Silver Age Superman stories, you know about this like kind of planet or Superman realm or whatever, where all the versions of Superman or everything lived. And it goes through and you've got the Golden Age Supreme who can't fly but can only leap. The Silver Age Supreme rules there. And it's a wonderful moment in which our Supreme that we're following, he's about to be rebooted. He's about to be the new current Supreme character, Superman analog character. So all of the other Supreme versions that came before him are inviting him to their realm there just to give him a good send-off, to tell him, hey, good luck out there. You make the choices. You get to decide what kind of hero you're going to be. And then the rest of the story, when he goes back, is him deciding what kind of Supreme is he going to be. Is he going to fall into line with the modern, this was written in the 90s, so the type of stories of that day that were, edgy and dark and ridiculous. Is he going to fall in with that? Or is he going to be really, truly what the character should be? The iconic version of why Supreme in this case, but Superman, we all know, why Supreme has had such an effect on culture. And that's what he does. That's what he chooses. There are these wonderful flashbacks throughout the whole series, which are supposed to be like Silver Age Supreme stories. and they're basically Silver Age Superman stories. They're wonderful. You know, you get him in a Smallville analog with his parents, you know, getting all the values and everything. You've got your Lana figure, your Jimmy Olsen figure comes in later. It's a wonderful, wonderful epic story. You've got analogs for the Justice League, and they themselves, you know, look to him. That's a cool element of the story because, as I've said many times, the DC universe, as Superman goes, so goes the DC universe. That's why it was ridiculous in New 52 to reshape everything on the crux of Batman. And they still try to hang that on Batman. Or now they're trying to say Wonder Woman was the first hero or whatever, you know. As Superman goes, so goes the DC universe. And the Alan Moore Supreme universe here follows that because all of the rest of the Justice League around him, if the universe has been rebooted, so have they. And they're looking to him is to kind of cue them into what kind of heroes they'll be. And they follow suit as well. It's a wonderful story. And if you get through it and you like it, you're not alone with just this volume. There is one called The Return as well, which I haven't read yet. I have it, though, but I want to read it as well. That's another place. If we're talking about Superman analogs and you want to find, okay, DC's not giving us good superhero story, good Superman stories. Marvel's certainly not giving us anything like a real Captain America story anymore. Where do we get it? You know, and you get it by the analogs and people who are out there. So like Huck, which isn't directly a Superman analog. Huck's more like a version of an aspirational hero that we would need. Supreme's very much a Superman analog. There, Alex Ross does a lot of the art, which is great, you know, for covers and whatnot. There's a Crypto-like character, a Supergirl-like character, you know, all these kind of. So it's pretty much a direct analog.